Good morning, it's early, and I mean very early. It's dark outside, and I'm being quiet because we've got a sleeping baby upstairs, but we've got the Bryson Epsom Salt. Salt on the ball. Test. Now, this is not just any version of this test. This is the test that the internet hasn't seen before, and I'll be perfectly honest about this. Ball manufacturers probably don't want me to do it. Now, there has been a couple of suggestions that us as golfers, me and you, were being mugged off by ball manufacturers. Now I know that sounds crazy, but yeah, it could really actually be true. Right, let's get to it. I've got to hope I even do this test right. So how it's going to work, we're going to be putting 2 in the Epsom salts, keeping 2 golf balls out, and let's see if there's any, wow, oh my, they stink, any difference in performance. Now, when I was doing this, I was actually doing a bit of research about Bryson himself, and there are some opinions out there on Bryson that, I'll be honest with you, surprise me. In fact, no, actually, they are brutal. Have a look at these, by the way. We're gonna go straight to the golf course once we've done this test and get these golf balls tested out in a real world scenario. What I've seen on the internet is we need half water to half Epsom salt. Let's get this test started. I won't tell my missus I've used a favourite wooden spoon. So apparently we've got to give this a bit of a mix. So it's, oh my god, that feels heavy in there. So basically, essentially, the Epsom salt apparently is only in there to make the golf balls float. First ball in. Let's see where it comes to rest. I'm actually quite interested. Look, that spot right there. Now, I'm going to pinch that ball and put a dot right here. This is where it gets super interesting, and I'm actually interested to see if this ball has a bias. Now, I'm going to put this ball back in the water, and if it comes back to rest in the exact same point, that little mark there, it shows this golf ball has a slight bias to one side. If it doesn't, that centre of mass is like exactly in the middle. But remember, we're not really bothered about that. We're bothered about, does this affect the golf ball when we get it out on the course? So you eagle-eyed viewers will have noticed already that I have covered up the brand of this golf ball, and it's a live golf ball. I've given these when I played the Pro-Am. So I've covered it up because I know people have bias, and we want it to be a completely blind test. I don't want you to know what ball it is, so you don't have any like prejudice over the golf ball. Which, you know what, I get it. I do understand that, but for the sake of this test, we need it to be totally down the middle, no bias. So look, there's the dot. I'm gonna put this to the bottom now, and let's see if it comes to rest in the exact same spot. There's the dot, pop it in. Let's see what happens. I actually have no idea. I'm quite interested in this. Ooh, just get in there slowly. Yeah, oh, here we go. Exactly the same. Hopefully you can see that. If I pinch that again, look what's out the water. The exact same spot, meaning this golf ball has a slightly left bias. No, not to worry. If you did this yourself and you're like, right, okay, well, this golf ball is absolutely shot, I can't use it. No, I'll show you when we get to the golf course what you got to do with this, but essentially it doesn't mean you can't use it. Now I'm going to repeat this test again with the second golf ball. Ooh, that's super interesting. That is in a completely different spot, meaning this ball right here came to rest just here. I'm pinching it, and before the dot was all around here. Let's just repeat that again because I'm not quite sure. Let's do that again. So there's the dot we had before. Place it in. Let's see if it comes to rest in a different spot entirely. And if it does, that literally means this golf ball is perfect. I mean, yeah, totally different spot again. Look, if I pinch that, no dot right there, and if we turn it round, it is round there. Meaning this golf ball is perfectly balanced. Interesting for the test. Will this make any changes? We have one that's unbalanced and one that's balanced. Right, let's get these balls together, head to the golf course. We'll have to mark it up, we'll do it when we get there, and I'll show you that because it's quite interesting. And then let's put this to the test. Remember, we're doing a part of this test that I don't think, well, that the internet hasn't seen before. Right, so we just got to the golf club. We're gonna go and test them. We're gonna start with driver and then onto the put-in. I'm excited about this. Let's get straight into this. Now, the data we're gonna be looking at, and this is big, we're gonna be looking at, is there a difference in the ball speed between an unsalted ball and a salted ball? So one that we balanced and found the middle of, and one that we haven't. Now, the big thing that I wanna look at here is obviously ball speed and carry total distance, but let's look at this fairway, right? You want to be standing on the golf course and be thinking, yeah, you know what, if I put a good swing on this, the golf ball is going to go straight. The idea of why Bryson does this is he finds a golf ball, the mass is slightly dispersed to one side, it could be contributing to errant shots that aren't your fault. Now that's the idea in it. Now remember when we did the testing originally, we found one that had a slight bias to one side and one golf ball which was perfectly balanced. Let's start though, I'll show you the brand, but by hitting an unsalted golf ball, one that we haven't done anything with. That's one of these right here. Let's see what numbers we get, and obviously we want to take dispersion into account here too. So here we go, unsalted. Oh, that was smoked. A little bit high, but yeah, I think that was pretty good to be honest. Cold morning. Now the truth is, a bit of fairway. Total's all right, total's all right. Okay, let's hit our second golf ball now, which is going to be the salted one. Let me make sure I got the right one. Remember, the one we did at home, one was totally balanced, like kept going to a different point every time we dropped it in the water. So let's hit the totally balanced one. Now, to make this test even more accurate, I am on my full swing putting salted and unsalted. So let's change this now to salted ball. Sounds quite strange, doesn't it? Salted ball, salted balls. Anyway, we'll leave that one there. Okay, that tee's broken. Remember whenever we used to say, if you break your tee, it's a great shot. Well, that was a pretty good shot. Okay, let's make sure I got the right one again. Can't be seeing that. Let's go, let's see what numbers we get on this one. Remember, this is a salted one that was totally balanced. We're looking at ball speed, we're looking at carry in total, and obviously dispersion. Here we go. Wow, that was absolutely smoked. Like that was hit. I don't think I've got any better in the locker. But that's interesting. Look where I hit that. You can see the salt on the ball. To be fair, the other one was hitting pretty much the same spot. But that is really interesting. We need to look at this data. Wowzers. Okay, so let's go on all shots. You can see this right here. So let's go on total distance. The salted, 296. Unsalted, 277. Let's look at the ball speed. Now, I'm obviously putting average in here, but the average is essentially just the one shot. Wow, but that's interesting. Surely salted balls can't make that much of a difference. I felt like I hit them both the same, and let's just see what the club head speed was, just to validate that. Okay, I was a little bit quicker. We're not only looking at this though, we want to have a look at what is going to happen with putting, because that's a big thing. Bryson's known for holding his putts and being a bit of a boffin with that, which by the way he does get some hate with, which I mentioned earlier. And I did say this is going to be a totally different test that the internet has seen before. That's what I was meaning. Okay, now we've only hit one shot. It's very early days. Let's go now and hit a salted one again and then unsalted, so then we can have a better look at this. There's only one so far. Oh, I forgot to say. Now, remember the first goal ball it was actually, that we looked at, we found that was a slight bias. Let me cover up this logo here, right? So this was the dot where we said there was a total balance point, the point that kept coming out of the water. What I've done and what Bryson says he does, he finds another two dots that are sitting directly in a row. And then he would draw his line down here. So he's forgetting any logo lines that are originally placed on the ball. This is now the new center of mass. So I'm going to tee this one up directly down that point. No logo, no logo. And again, I remind you of this, the putting aspects I'm really, really interested in, because if you look at it from a club golfer's point of view, that's where we could make some real gains. We don't have to be any physically better. We don't have to be actually any technically better in our long game. If we can just hold more putts, that's how we can lower our scores. And that's why I'm really interested in the putting aspect. Okay, so that's how I'm going to tee it up. Those dots there in a row. So we're already unsalted. Let's see, 296 total on the first salted one. That is super interesting. Okay, right, let's hit this one away. Oh, it's a little bit down the left, maybe slightly toe side, but I hit that pretty good again. Definitely caught a piece of the fairway. Oh, so let's dive into these numbers. Let's dive into these here. Data, here we go. Club head speed 110, ball speed 162.7, and total distance 292. let's go into the next one. Data's ready, unsalted golf ball. Come on, let's get this down there. That was absolutely smoked. High draw, interesting. Good club head speed, right, okay.
Now we all know 2 shots isn't enough to get an average, so we hit 3 more with each. I'm not going to bore you with going up and down the fairway, but here are some of the shots. And aren't they some interesting shot shapes? But you know what? Overall, pretty good dispersion.
There's just one thing in my mind right now. Is this like placebo, or is this actually a real thing? When I was finding out the instructions of how to do the salted ball test, I'll leave the link to that down below, I couldn't help but go into the comments on the video. Now there's a few people in here saying that Bryson is claiming that he made up the test, as in that's the opinion of this club golfer. Whereas I actually don't think that is. I think if you look at these screenshots from the media right here, this is the media that is making out that Bryson made up the test. Whereas actually, if we think about it logically, in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, I'm sure people like Tom Weisskopf, even Nicholas, I've got some of the names down here, Charles Cody, and I'm sure many others did this as well. So, my point being right here, it's, for me, in my opinion, it's the media, not Bryson, making out that this is something new. As I said right here, look at all these articles, and people get so obsessed when someone's a little bit different. What do you think? Do you think Bryson is acting like he's this boffin, or is the media blowing out proportion? I'm very interested to see like how that ball rolls when put in, and there's actually a specific way to make the ball go end over end, which I want to know if it works or not.
Now the bit we've all been waiting for. We want to go through the data, salted versus unsalted. Now the first thing I want to pick up here and say to you is the average club head speed was pretty much the same, right? 110.1 for the unsalted and 110.6 for the salted golf balls. So close as we can. But this is really interesting. We do see a slight difference. Average total on the salted golf balls was 289. Versus the average total at 284. Diving into this a little bit more, you can see a slight increase in average ball speed between the salted at 161.2 and the unsalted at 159.9. Now I find this really quite interesting. How on earth can there be a difference? Now it might not seem like much from 159 to 161, but that is a difference. How on earth can we explain this? Is it placebo? Is it the fact that we have more confidence? Well, that rules it out because we got the similar club head speed. A very interesting point right here. This is leaving me puzzled, but we still need to find out what happens when we put to really leave no stone unturned.
But is it because I've gone to extra lengths to make sure my equipment's right? I feel like I've got more confidence in the hit. Remember, the club head speed was the same. So maybe it is the ball. I don't know. Let me know down below in the comments what you think of that data. I don't think I would be doing the salt ball test. Well, it might change your mind after hitting these, but isn't that data interesting? We've got the unsalted golf ball in this hand and the salted golf ball in this hand. Now, Bryson says this makes a real difference inside, I guess, that holeable range. I guess inside 12 to sort of 7.5 feet. So I would guess sort of roughly around here. And there's also not only the salt bit of the video, but where you then place the dimple down is very interesting too. So let's hit the first putt. Just randomly, like this is the golf ball that's totally unsalted. I'm gonna hit 4 putts. The first golf ball is unsalted. I'm still gonna line it up because that's what I would do to make this test as fair as possible. A little bit off the right. That line is what I would use generally. So again, I'm trying to make this as fair as possible. Let's see if we can hold this putt. Like I'm wondering right now, like we saw some differences in data. Is this placebo? Is this actual facts? Oh, I'm a bit on the fence if I'm honest, and I know that's a really bad answer right now, but I need to hit these putts first. Okay. That was a good putt. Really good putt. End over end. Now, this is where it gets interesting. So we mentioned these dots earlier. And this is the one of the golf balls that was totally balanced because we didn't find that the mass would go to one side. The golf ball in the Epsom Salt was essentially going different side every time, showing that the golf ball is totally balanced. But no matter if this golf ball is totally balanced or not, Bryson finds 2 dimples, so look at this one here and this blue here, that are in a row. He would then place this dimple in the middle of the ball. And what I mean by that is having even amount of ball on the top and at the bottom. So when you're striking the putter, boom, striking the putter, you're hitting the center of a dimple, not the side. He says hitting the side of the dimple can sort of knock that golf ball slightly offline. Now think about it logically, the faces have got harder on putters, the balls have got harder on putters. Now that's only on some. I do appreciate some inserts are a little softer, but he says here, if you line that up to that dot is equidistant above the ball and below the ball, so you're hitting the center of that, right? That's about there. You're hitting the center of that. You've got a far better chance of starting this golf ball online. Plus, we know this golf ball is totally centered. The other one, we have no idea. We didn't test it, like most of us don't do. Okay, this is slightly right to left. Let's see if we make a difference here. I mean, that was a really good putt. I'm not even going to say this. I do feel different, but I don't know if it's because I'm putting more into it. I need to hit a couple more putts, again, from this range. Let's go left to right. These are always hard for me, always hard. So let's go unsalted first. Like, I want to know if this is something that you would do, but before that, I want to go into some more of these comments. Now, this is a brutal one I want to bring up. I bet Rory is at home doing this right now. I mean, that got 115 likes. Like, and there's some brutal replies on there. Like, I don't get it. What's the overall census on Rory? Like, I feel like people online, the minute, like, either love him or hate him. Like, he's played well recently, but just can't get over the line. Maybe if you do have the placebo like this, is this something that he should bring into his game? I don't know. I'll ask you the question again, like, is it something you're going to do? Okay, so we've lined this one up. It's left to right. This is the unsalted golf ball. So I've not done anything to it. I've not even placed a dimple pattern down. Oh, that was a beautiful putt, end over end. Just maybe a bit pacey. Right, okay, let's go for this. I'm still making my decision on this. Now remember, if you go outside this range, it would have no real effect in the sense of the dimple pattern. Now this golf ball right here is the totally balanced one. If we were using the other one, then we would sort of use the lines of that golf ball to get the new mass. But we're using the totally balanced one here. Okay, that's set up. Let's see if this makes a difference. The further you get away, because you're hitting it so hard, there's so many variables, the dimple pattern doesn't matter. It's these ones here, the holeable ones, according to strokes gained. So I mean, we look at them there. That one I felt no different on, if I'm being perfectly honest. So let's give a summary of what we've tested here today. Yes, we did see a difference in the data, and quite a drastic one. And the only thing I can put that down to is, well, I don't know it. I mean, the swing speed was the same. Maybe the ball speed was a little higher. It was, and the distance. You know what? I'm a bit stumped on that. Because I don't believe salting the golf balls makes that difference. I don't. But the data doesn't lie. And on those putts, I do feel there's something in that, in the sense of you do feel there's much more detail going into it. But whether I would do it on the golf course, I don't think I would. So looking at this right now going, does salting your golf balls make a huge difference to a club golfer? No, absolutely not. Is it blown out of proportion for Bryson? Yes, totally. I think it's something that he uses as a comfort to make sure he's that kind of personality that doesn't want to leave a stone unturned. So going forwards, are you going to salt them or not? Let me know down below in the comments.